Greetings, everyone. Greetings. Welcome, one and all, to another episode of the Meme Ranch on election eve here. Just waiting hours now until hopefully we will get to the point where no more ballots are being counted. Although what we know about certain states is that the count is likely going to last days upon days. But we're hoping that it is too big to rig for President Trump, right, Xvala? We're hoping that everything is going to be clear to us by 2 a.m. on the East Coast, hopefully, at that point. I think that there's a lot that has been done already as far as litigation goes. I think that the RNC has been very proactive and not reactive to all of the nefarious things that different counties are doing and things like that across the United States to try and make it easier to cheat. So I don't know, where are you at? Where are you kind of feeling right now on this election?
I think we should talk about what Elon's saying.
Yeah, because what Elon's saying is essentially, he just said this on Joe Rogan just a few hours ago, basically that if Kamala wins, that the free speech platform that we all know and love, X, could come under the fire of the Harris DOJ. Now, I haven't heard what he said in full yet, but it's something that I've thought about actually for quite a while now. Is, we talk about the lawfare against Trump, but just think about all the people who have tried to help him out this time around, and everything that they could try to do for his allies that have really given him another shot at winning. So this is just what Elon was saying earlier today. Let's start from the beginning here.
If you didn't do it, no one would have. And here's the hilarious narrative that I keep hearing from idiots. Elon's a bad businessman. Twitter is worth, 400% less than when he bought it. No, it wasn't worth that in the first place.
It wasn't worth that in the first place.
It wasn't worth $44 billion, you fucking morons.
Yes.
Wrong. And also, you're not taking into account the advertiser boycott.
Exactly.
That's total bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. So there are these organizations, like you can tell is they're like when they have an Orwellian name. So like the Center for Countering Digital Hate,
right,
is a total scam organization, because they're like the Ministry of Truth type of thing in Orwell. They're a censorship organization.
Yeah.
And they organize and they pushed the advertisers to boycott.
Speaking of censorship, YouTube does not like this video. So if you're watching on there, please give it a like for us because it'll be very helpful. YouTube has been downgrading our videos for a couple of weeks now, and it's really frustrating because we get most of our comments and activity on there from some of our regular supporters. So please give this a like if you're watching right now. Back to the program.
So we still have some of the boycott is starting to lift, and I think if Trump wins, we'll see probably most of the boycott lift. But if Kamala wins, we'll see that boycott get stronger. And they'll friggin' shut down. There's no way that the sort of Kamala puppet regime would allow X to exist.
You really think that they'll be able to shut it down, though? Is there a pathway to that?
Yes.
What would they do?
Well, I mean, they can stick the DOJ on and say they've had this whole thing about hate speech, misinformation, whatever. Except that they're the ones pushing the misinformation. But that doesn't stop them from filing massive, lawsuits and using the DOJ.
Yeah, I mean that's a bleak analysis there. I think
that's
that
reality staring you in the face is what that is.
No, totally, it is. It's scary, and I think that just like what we saw happen in Brazil, the battle over X in Brazil with the Brazilian Supreme Court. I think that it is something that we have to be really vigilant about if the things that we want to go our way, if Trump really doesn't win. And I think that we have a pretty good shot at winning tomorrow. I think that everything right now just feels like it should be going for Trump, but there's that pit in my stomach where I'm just thinking oh gosh, are we really gonna be able to pull through.
Think about the awful irony, Kalen. If we come down this road all this way, Elon purchases Twitter above what it's worth, and we get our platform back, we get our speech back, and then we fail to elect Trump, or Trump, it's taken from Trump in some way. And then look at the dire straits we would be in if that were the scenario in a couple days or a day or whatever it's going to be. That's a sick, sick irony. It's like almost like torture. So you got to vote. You got to realize your free speech is only as good as your form of government.
Well, and like, it's kind of like what you were saying is like your form of government is like what Trump was saying tonight is that our government, our nation is occupied. And I think that is something that rings true for a lot of people who hear it, because for the last 4 years, it hasn't felt like normal America. You know, it hasn't felt like what we experienced growing up or the same place we'd want to bring our kids up in. And I'm sure you having an adult daughter, only one, Jeff, I'm sure you're happy that, you know, you've at least gotten her through the, the worst part of it, I think, you know.
Yeah, she's going to be voting first election.
Yeah, it's crazy. There was another Alex Jones, Elon Musk, like tangential thing. We were talking about occupation and things like that. And it sort of gets to the cusp of now Elon, you know, Alex has been talking about it for years and years about New World Order. But now even Elon, I think for at least the better part of like a year or so, has been sort of hinting at that. And he got even closer to talking about it in this clip that I'm about to show you guys.
Elon Musk just posted on X, "I'm against globalist power. The UN should not have a lot of power. Who voted for them? I didn't vote for them. We want power to the people, maximum power to the individual."
So that was a short clip, but you know, it's something that I think that is just even more emblematic of how much we could have such an aware, like an awareness, you know, squad of people who are standing up against what has become essentially an oppressive regime here in the United States. Like the fact that, like, I loved it the other day whenever Elon was talking about the Department of Government Efficiency, or the program to basically, you know, lay off a bunch of government employees, because he gave an explanation for how it would happen in a way that I haven't heard him describe it yet. Because I think a lot of people have been questioning for a lot of, you know, recent time was, you know, how are we just gonna X out a bunch of government employees that, you know, theoretically help keep everything running day in and day out. And his explanation for that was basically, you know, do it humanely, do it in a very sort of like delayed release kind of way. You know, don't screw people out of paying rent or mortgages, but like tell them, like, you know, they have 2 years or something like that. And after 2 years, they're going to be gone, or, you know,
envision, you know, the meme where Elon's firing people over these Zoom calls.
Mm-hmm.
After he,
yeah,
Trump should be on a Zoom call with like the heads of certain departments or, you know, government agencies. Like, hey, you're fired. Pack up. Get out. You're gone. You know, like just boom, boom, boom. You go through them all. Heads of agencies, not the whole agency. People he's gonna, like, when an administration changes, you have these firings anyway.
Mm-hmm. We have a couple comments. They got a shout out, Cinderblock Frog. How quickly would Kamala deport Elon? Faster than you can say Kalamazoo. I don't know.
That's a really good question.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you know, he's the one immigrant that she would, you know, have on our priority list. Like, and there would be this whole, like, you know, like, ladies and gentlemen, we got him, you know, kind of like situation. You know, for the whole half of the country who, you know, is one of her voters or whatever, that would basically think it was like some sort of godsend maneuver.
I think the question is that the first official act, giving Elon the boot?
I mean, I think that, you know, just like Elon said in that Joe Rogan clip a couple hours ago, that the DOJ could go after X. Like, I think that it's going to go through the guise of like targeting misinformation and things like that. Like, especially if there is a very close tight election that Trump loses that looks like it is a repeat of 2020 for a lot of people witnessing it. I think that even more so, there's a coalition behind, saying we really seriously need to bring on challenges. And it's interesting because there's been a little bit of talk online about what this new law that was passed in 2022 could essentially potentially do for Trump, or do for any candidate who's trying to contest results of an election. We can talk about that in a little bit later. I haven't had a lot of time to read through it myself, but I think that it's something that is going to become a broader topic as the days go forward, if it is not a decisive victory for either side, but more of a contested result for several weeks on end.
Steve Bannon was just on Megyn Kelly, and he thinks Trump's got this in the bag. And he goes through some reasons. We should maybe listen. Thanks, dude. We should listen.
Thanks,
let's react to this Bannon Megyn Kelly interview.
Yeah, I heard this was a really good interview, right?
This is a clip of the whole thing, I think.
Okay. Let's see.
Besides my little press conference there was doing your show. I did your show and then went into prison the next day, I think, the day after. So it was it was a interesting experience, very interesting experience. Very I cherished the experience.
You did? You cherish it? Why?
At 70 years old, you don't get the opportunity to really challenge yourself or to be in a totally different environment. I mean, look, it's a federal prison. It wasn't a camp. It's a dangerous place. There's a lot of dangerous people there, but there are also some good people. So I had a very intense experience over 4 months, and I learned a lot. I just observed, watched, and learned so much. And quite frankly, understood 6 weeks into there how and why Kamala Harris was going to lose. So it was on the political side, it was a real awakening for me on certain areas.
Interesting. What do you mean?
Well, you see in this early voting, you see the problem. Let's take Pennsylvania for a second. African American men and Hispanic men are not voting for Kamala Harris. 5 or 6 weeks, as I started to teach civics and government to the inmates in the education department at Danbury. It was very evident, because she is what they refer to her as the queen of mass incarcerations. And President Trump came with this First Step Act, which really would incentivize nonviolent drug dealers, you have a lot of Hispanic and young African-American men there, to get into that system and to try to better themselves, have a flawless record in prison, and they can cut their sentences up to half. She hasn't, the Biden regime hasn't really implemented any of it, almost none of it. And they see her as not deporting the really hardened criminal drug dealers coming in from the cartels, and that they're actually starting to show up in prisons now, and they're very violent and very dangerous.
This is so interesting. Is he like, he's basically giving a testimony that like all these like criminal reform, like, like we're gonna give people second chances and things like that. Like none of that stuff is really coming to fruition.
Well, it was passed by Trump, and I forget the name of the program, but then it sounds like Bannon's giving his testimony that they're not being applied. So it's as if they don't exist. And there's no prisoner reform is so the prisoner. I think when I listened to this earlier, he was saying the prisoners that were in there with him knew about the prison reform, but they were seeing no benefit of it because the administration is not executing on those promises. So they're stuck.
Yeah, and isn't it ironic because the same person who's letting in all these illegals who are, some of them are murdering, some of them are raping, all the above. You have people that are in jail for some petty marijuana theft, or not theft, like solicitation or something like that, or other things that are reformable as far as like, the convicted go. And I think that, the fact that there's so many people that are just rotting away who, perhaps like aren't murderers or something like that, but like, something along the lines of, they can be restored and they can be re-assimilated, rehabilitated, I should say.
If we hit play on this again, you'll hear him talk about how they view Kamala as, she was a prosecutor. She locked up many people, and she could have had a reprieve for herself in that, okay, maybe I can let some of these people out early or on a path to get out on better behavior and get out early. But she's just the same old Kamala she's always been. She just wants to keep people in jail. I think he kind of gets into that here in a second.
Unknown. I was thinking that too. I was covering Steve Bannon the other day whenever he got out of jail, and the very first thing I thought was that something looks off about him. I agree on the rough part of it, but what specifically looks rough? Because I had the same exact thought. I thought for some reason maybe it was because he had maybe gotten a little thinner, and maybe his beard, like, it's like usually like he doesn't have that full of a beard, but usually he has like more hairs on his face or something. I don't know what it is.
I think he's starting to look like a founding father.
A little bit, yeah.
Mhm.
Honestly, like
he belongs on money.
Yeah, he doesn't like I don't know. I've never thought he was the most pretty man out there, but I feel like he does, like, he looks rough in an unconventional way. Like, it's not like I don't know if he looks.
He's got rugged looks. Yeah.
I don't know if he looks worse than what he did, say, 2017. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Darker skin is a little bit. Yeah, that's a little more.
Yeah.
I do see that.
Sun-kissed.
Hopefully, it's not jaundice.
So the prisoners starting to get those guys. Yet the First Step Act, which President Trump did it, and the reason that Kamala Harris and Biden are not doing it, and the inmates know that, it's a political win for Trump. It's a huge win. So I found out while I was there, not that these guys are going to vote for Trump. I think up to 30%, maybe African-American men, maybe 50% Hispanic would actually vote for Trump. But she's not going to get an African-American male or Hispanic vote. And you see the numbers coming out of Pennsylvania where it's in free fall. Think the same in Wisconsin and Michigan. So she has a massive problem with their coalition that I was able to really learn about and really understand, between the job, they blamed them for the illegal alien invasion, and particularly in the cities where the wages have come down because what they try to do from the
He's
Federal
talking about the
Reserve and
inmates
the Biden
now.
regime, this is what they did. Mm-hmm. This is why Wall Street loves it. Wall Street doesn't want one person deported, not one. And I learned that in this prison from young Black and Hispanic inmates, and it's all played out. That's why. And the only statement I put out, 26 September, I put out a pretty long statement, said victory's at hand, and I walked through the politics of joy to her pivot to the night falls on America with fascism. It wasn't going to work, but that the mass incarcerations that Black men are not going to vote for, Hispanic men are not going to vote for, and if they don't vote for her, she's not going to be president of the United States. There's not enough Taylor
that's the
Swift.
thing. They don't have to vote for Trump, but if they don't come out and they lower her percentage of the Black vote, it hurts just as badly.
If they vote for Trump, it's a two-bagger. If they just don't vote for her, it's a one. It's killer. There's not enough Swifties out there to make that up, and I think this is going to play out. If we are to win this, I think it's going to be one of the biggest elements of it.
Okay, so back up and explain what you mean when you say you see those numbers coming out of Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, and I think you may have said Georgia. Like, what are you seeing specifically? Because most of us have not been following the data as closely as you.
Well, it was to build a firewall. Let's say that they had 1.7 million early votes or 1.5 million early votes in 2020. They have like 700,000, 800,000. They're 700,000 short of where they were in 2020. They haven't built a firewall. The gap, the starting gap in the hole is only 300,000 votes, 350,000 votes. It was over 1.1 million in 2020. Those 700,000 votes, and let me be very specific about
where. Can you say where? And do you just mean the Black vote, or
no? In the whole Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, right now, if you look at the data,
okay, I have the data.
They've had 700,000 fewer early votes.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pause this video because this data. There's a guy that's been tracking this like daily. His name is Ryan Gradusky. he was the one who is on that now infamous CNN panel where he asked the guy, we asked Mehdi Hassan, or he said, I hope your beeper doesn't go off.
That was that was funny.
Yeah. Except Ryan messed up big time because he apologized like 4 times in a row.
Right.
He's like, I'm sorry.
Mehdi never apologizes for how awful he is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He should have never apologized to him because it made him look weaker. But it was a funny comment. Okay, so these, I'm gonna see if I can pull up this data that Ryan has pulled up. So Pennsylvania ballots returned as of November 4th. Dems almost 1 million. GOP a little over 500,000. The change from the end of 2022, the GOP is up 323,000. The Dems are only up 140. So I think this is kind of getting to what Bannon is saying here, is that the early turnout has been really good for Republicans this year, bar none, almost in every single state. And assuming that we didn't cannibalize all of the election day votes, which we know typically men go out and vote on election day, men more often than not are Trump supporters. I think that basically the theory is we're doing really well with Republican early voting.
I think I think they get into Pennsylvania in particular in this video. Megyn Kelly brings up the female vote turnout, so it's pretty interesting how that tweaks into these numbers.
Okay, yeah, because I know that she's been a bit of a worrywart when it comes to the women because she doesn't want Trump to.
Yeah, I think they addressed Pennsylvania women
than they had before, and these were low propensity voters that voted because of the pandemic. Now remember, in 2020, that number was always I felt fishy, because throughout the country we picked up 15 House seats in 2020. We picked up 15 House seats against Nancy Pelosi. We netted 12. Because we lost a couple, we won 15 House seats. You're telling me that Biden got 81 million votes where Obama just got 60, so it's 15 million more votes than Obama?
Let's see what happens. 1,600. Get it? 1,600 Pennsylvania. Kaylin.
Sorry, I was asking if it was Kalshi or Poly Market.
I think it was 1,600 Pennsylvania.
No, but I'm wondering if he bet on Kalshi or Poly Market, or like which are the betting markets.
Yeah, let us know.
Because I'm curious if Kalshi or Poly Market. I don't know what the split is right now. I know that both have had Trump in the lead by quite a bit. Kalshi a little bit less than Poly Market. And I want to know what happens if, like, say, toward the final hours before the election's called, Kalshi like flips to Harris and Poly Market stays with Trump. Robinhood. I didn't even know that Robinhood could do betting.
Nice.
That's so interesting.
That's a cool number, though.
See, I could never do any of this stuff because it would be unethical for me because I'm a reporter. So I think it would be a lot of fun to bet on the election.
Kaylin, is that just you, or do they actually teach you that stuff?
No, I mean, it's not. Election betting is so new that it's not really something that we've had to discuss. But it's just
feels icky.
It's like you would have failed your ethics course on reporting if you said yes, it's okay to bet on an election.
I wonder if Kamala is betting on herself.
I mean, it's like a referee or like a coach, or someone, like, I don't know. Are players allowed to bet on their own?
No, according to like sports rules, probably not. I don't think baseball, football, you can do that.
Yeah, like no, like honestly, like if I didn't have my current occupation, I think it would be so fun to bet on political affairs. I think that would be such a fun thing to do, but I would feel weird doing it. And then also, like, imagine like how much of a failure you would be if like you're like in the world of politics and you bet on the wrong things. It's like you should you should have a good win ratio, and if you're losing, then that's just probably gonna be.
We should just look at what Nancy Pelosi is placing her money on. Sure bet.
Yeah, exactly. I bought in where I bought in. Whatever happens, happens. If I win, I get 3,400. When did you
Nice.
buy in? Like, was it recent? I'm very curious when you bought in.
And we picked up 15 House seats. It just always seemed fishy. In
You'll
22,
give us $20. Hey, thank
the
you.
House, in winning the House, let's leave that aside, the individuals. If you look at the popular vote, we won the popular vote Republicans by 5 or 6 million votes for the House. Those low propensity voters didn't show up. And they said, well, Steve, they won't vote for House races. They only hate Trump. They only show up. In Pennsylvania, there's 750 or 800,000 votes short of where they were in 2020. It's the same crowd. It's this low propensity voter. And they're not going to show up on Tuesday. These guys are low propensity. They vote early. And quite frankly, they missed 22, and they're going to miss now. And they missed early voting. So, and if you look if you go into the depth of that, I think it's 80,000 males in Philadelphia area. Black men have not voted, who would normally vote. They've not voted. So the numbers that's why she's going back to Philadelphia. Her numbers coming out of here are horrific. She has done better with women.
What do you think about that,
She has done
Kaylin?
better with suburban women. She's done better with the credentials.
That he bought it today.
I think it's look, I mean, I have been saying, and I'm glad we made our Halloween episode, the What If Kamala Wins episode, because I think that this is the thing that's going to drive conservatives, me included, insane, is just it's like to me, like, I think unknown, and I've read your comments before. I think that from what I understand, I think that, you know, your choice is either like ambivalent or strategic or whatever. Like, I don't know if, like, you're probably not betting on Kamala because you want her to win. I think that
that'd be a stupid reason to bet on anything.
Yeah, you're just going with it because you think it's what's going to happen. And I think that those people who think like that are the smartest people, you know. Because right now it seems like, and it's just a feeling, but today whenever I walked into work, it just felt like it was the same feeling of whenever we were about to have that red mirage in 2022. And I don't quite know how to, like, describe it, but obviously in 2022 we were a little caught off guard because we thought that the red mirage was actually a red wave, you know. And the fact that the polls still tip a little bit toward Trump right now is like, that's interesting. It seems like, I feel like all of these elements at play here, whether they're intended to or whether they're not, I think they're meant to demotivate GOP voters on the day of the election. I think that you have two things going on here. I think you have some semblance of polling that shows Trump up a few points, and that gives people confidence. Meanwhile, you have other elements that are floating around there that are trying to suggest that, you know, like, for example, me just mentioning that it's a red mirage or whatever, could make someone sitting at home right now think like, oh, if this guy thinks it's a red mirage, then I shouldn't even get off my ass because
that's how the media game's played. That's how people play it. That is
exactly. So it's like anything that I say could be FUD to some unsuspecting ears that listen to just some guy on the internet, and they're like, oh, I'm not going to go vote now because this guy is blackpilling and he's making me blackpill too or something. I don't know. Unknown saying I want her to win on top of it, but the 13 keys guy is the reason I'm putting my wallet.
Did you see that episode we did on him?
Yeah, we did talk about 13 keys last time.
There's something about that guy I don't trust, and I can't put my finger on it. It's just the way his energy comes off to me on camera. It's something's not right with this guy. And
interesting. I like this nuance, Unknown. I like this nuance. You're basically suggesting you want Harris to win, I disagree with you. That's fine. But you do think that the polls are a lie to make Republicans think they're finding Democrat reason to vote.
Could be.
And in some ways, that's just like, that's because like I know so many Democrats who are like, I'm voting for Harris, but I also don't trust the media whatsoever. And whenever they see polls for Trump showing him in the lead, they think that that's just the media trying to squeeze some dollars or something like that. So it's almost like the left is kind of getting a little bit like, you know, I don't know what's the right word, but like it does show a level of nuance that I can respect.
What was the one thing you took away with the Destiny interview?
I was actually
Just
about to
curious.
switch over to Destiny right now. There's a live panel that they're having.
He does, but that's not what throws me off about him. It's just I don't know. I'll have to come up with a reasoning for why I feel that way.
Do you want to watch this this live panel right now? With Destiny?
Yeah, save your spot on this video though, just in case.
Yeah. We'll come back to Bannon later, but I want to watch see what the OmniLib is doing.
Documents. He was the president of the United States, correct?
Yeah.
When you're the president of the United States, none of the classification rules apply to you.
But it has nothing to do. Who got him? Who's been talking to him? It's Rob.
It's not Rob.
He wasn't
I'm telling you
charged.
something true.
He was.
I read the her report.
He was charged for.
I understand the analysis.
He was charged for willful retention of national defense
I
information.
know
He could. But the only reason I bring this is because the national defense information, that's a different one because the president doesn't actually have the authority to declassify that. That declassification has to come from Congress, I believe, or there's another process.
Unsure actually, but I
am sure. That's the difference between that charge and the ordinary outside.
We do not have on-point precedent about scope of national defense information, where and to the extent to which who can.
My understanding is that even if the documents had been declassified properly, he still did not have the right to have them, and that's
why are they talking about
president?
What?
When he was the president.
Thank God, time moved on.
Yes.
Why are we talking about these documents?
Because they're basically, you know, like, well, it is interesting, I think, from a standpoint of like we're at a crossroads. We're at a crossroads where it's like either this conversation does not matter whatsoever, or it matters a ton.
It's sending Trump to jail. Trump to jail, basically.
Yeah,
right?
because Trump still has, even though the case has been dismissed by Eileen Cannon, there's a hearing coming up at the 11th Circuit.
So these guys, to me, are already saying that Kamala is going to win and Trump's going to go to jail. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I think they're moving on to the next steps. I think that they're essentially getting ready for the next, you know, arc. Which, as a legal reporter, this is going to make my job infinitesimally more busy if that were to happen. Back in 20 minutes with the when she wins. Oh my gosh. Back with the 20 when she wins. Oh my god. You know, I appreciate Unknown's nuance. I mean, he's a Destiny fan, and you know that's one thing I can say about Destiny's audience is I think that, you know, the fact that they're willing to share crossover with us is cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
And I think that, you know, at the end of the day, I want this to be a fun ball game. I don't want this to be like, you know, start a civil war and things like that. You know, I do think that there is a bittersweet sense to the fact that, you know, tonight at around 10:30, I think is going to be the last Trump rally. And that to me gives me some, you know, real nostalgic, you know, feelings. I'm just like, man, like, you know, if Trump's around, you know, still in, you know, 15 years, maybe less than that, you know, like we might be freaking like reenacting Trump rallies in the future.
Here's the thing, Kalen. You know, even if Trump
bring back the band style, you know, like
if Trump doesn't win, all these things that we've seen happen since July, you know what I'm talking about. They're not going to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's still in danger.
Even if he wins, you're saying?
No, I'm saying if he doesn't win, it's not like people are going to let him off the hook for running for president again.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
the psychos are still out there.
They're gonna tar and feather him. I mean, I was having a conversation today where it's like
I was meaning Butler. I think there's still going to be psychos out there that think that that's what they want to do.
Well, that's the scary thing, I think, too, is because like a defeated Trump is a demoralized Trump. he has all these trials that he has to face and likely years of prison time because they're not going to be fair trials done for him. And not to mention, you get this apathy surrounding him. Like, his supporters don't want to be sad all day, so they move on. It's like, they have to find something else to, like, give them joy. Thinking about Trump makes them feel too sad because they think about all the bad stuff that's happening to him. And then you wind up with more vulnerability surrounding the former president, because then it's like, it's like he just, to me, it's like, in my imagination, he would just be less secure from like potential attacks and stuff like that. And that would be so scary to think about. Like, it would be the ugliest, reflection of America that we've seen in a long time, for there to just be this like absolute disregard or respect for someone who was formerly our leader, all because the conceptions of the individual that were created during his time, and in a lot of ways it would mirror what happened with Nixon. I mean, Nixon, is one of the most, drastically misunderstood individuals for reasons that would take, hours upon hours of live podcasting to actually like get down into. Was he a criminal? Wasn't he a criminal? I think that it kind of, a lot of it was, stopped in its tracks whenever he, chose to resign. And so people kind of like, there was just like this frozen, image of like who he was like in that moment in time. And that just stuck with him forever. But he, like, I feel like there's no one who's been a leader like him who has had such a level understanding of the world around him. And for him to basically be, go down as like infamous as like Andrew Jackson or something like that is just kind of, a little bit sad. And I think with Trump, it would be even more sad because we'd be living through it. So I don't know. I don't want to blackpill on this for so long, but like at the same time, I think it's an interesting conversation, and it's one that, we gotta talk about these things now, because I think that it prepares us for the worst if the worst happens.
Let's hear some more of what they're saying.
Yeah, let's go back to it.
And when he had them.
But if Donald Trump thought that it was legal to do it.
Sorry.
Listen to me.
It's the Chappelle skit where the guy's like, I didn't know I couldn't do that. Sorry, with Chip.
I'm gonna learn you a thing or two.
You're right. Go ahead.
So,
see, I like
in
this
this statute,
I want you to be like Merrick Garland and take your time.
the willful retention of national defense information requires you to have a heightened mens rea. It requires you to know what you're doing is illegal.
A heightened mens rea, like being the top authority at the administration or at the part of government that's responsible for classifying material?
So Donald Trump could have reasonably said at the time, if they had tried to charge him when they found the documents in Mar-a-Lago, he could have said, I thought it was legal for me to have those. That would have been a valid defense.
Yeah, but he didn't. Instead, he's on recording saying, I was supposed to declassify these, but I didn't.
Yeah, that's because the investigation continued. They had obstruction evidence, and that evidence goes towards willfulness.
So let's be clear. The only reason Stephen and I want, and I'm sure you do, want Trump charged of the classified the documents case was because he kept the documents. If they'd gone to Mar-a-Lago and said, give us the goddamn documents back, and he was like, hey, sorry, I thought I could, we wouldn't want him charged.
Now you're talking about policy. I don't want to hear about policy. I don't want to hear about your own ethical system.
Man, these people have no clue. Like, none of them have any clue what they're talking about. Like, as someone who has followed this case like the back of my hand, it is like, I guess I gotta fill in the blanks here. So Trump is charged with like willfully retaining classified documents in addition to willful retention and efforts to obstruct federal investigations. That was part of the superseding indictment. And so it's a lot more complex than what anyone here is pointing out. And I think that it gets though to the core of it is like, this was a raid that happened in 2022. And there were communications between Trump's attorneys and the National Archives, and there was a back and forth and things like that. And I think that where it jumped the gun was whenever the DOJ signed off, or a magistrate judge signed off on a DOJ warrant in South Florida to break into Mar-a-Lago to retrieve remaining documents.
A magistrate judge is not typically what you think of as a judge either, I think. Isn't that correct?
Well, magistrate judge are kind of they're kind of like deputy judges, like,
right?
It's not,
so people
yeah.
They hear judge and they think, oh yeah, we elect those people. No, you didn't elect this person.
Yeah, it's definitely and this was, I think, a Clinton appointed magistrate, if I'm not mistaken.
They're kind of like helper judges because the docket's full, and or whatever, for whatever reason they use them, but they're not typically a very practiced judge.
Right.
So, yeah, it's kind of, that makes it question in my mind, because I've heard about bad stories, people going through divorces and dealing with magistrate judges. It's awful. So I can't imagine on this level a magistrate judge being able to sign off on something like this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I imagine a magistrate judge is like, kind of like sort of like the kind of judge that you like walk through like the dingy, dimly lit, court hall with like flies, flying around, like the lights flickering and stuff like that. And like you walk into his room or his courtroom, and he's like, what can I do for you? He's obviously I'm exaggerating, but
I'm a bail bondsman,
yeah,
and
like the bail
judge.
bondsman aura of judges. Yeah. No, I mean, magistrate judges, they do have more respect, typically. But it does definitely, like, it's like, did Trump, think he was supposed to have these? Like, I think that he honestly didn't know that he had them, because I think that they just boxed up a bunch of stuff from the White House and brought it back to Mar-a-Lago, and he hadn't even looked at these documents. But, once the National Archives found out that they were missing, they started going on a hunt for them. And I think that in a lot of ways, this could have just been resolved through, months of correspondence and things like that. And there could have at least been like a stern warning of like, we're going to get we're going to raid your home, Trump, if you don't.
Oh, yeah. And they sent him over there with authority to shoot to kill. That was another thing that came out.
Yeah.
So it's not as simple as what these guys are making it out to be.
Yeah, it's and the shoot to kill is standard procedure. I know that sounds crazy, but it
not
is.
When it's the president. It's not.
Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing about this.
I think that they should have made an exception for the standard procedure when it comes to a former president. I will submit to that.
Is what I want to hear about is why you knew that they had evidence of mishandling of classified information at the time they found the documents.
I kind of want to get off the document. I mean, they've been talking a little bit longer. Let's see.
Hello.
Is that working?
On this side Can you see us over
Hey. Hello. It doesn't switch over to this side.
No, it is.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's fine.
Oh wow, it just ended. Well, yeah. So I think that we can
pull up the Bannon.
Go
one
back to
real
the
quick.
Bannon. Yeah.
I just want to finish out on the Bannon.
Let's go.
Some people who really know what they're talking about.
Central class, college educated woman, but their basic coalition's not coming together. That's why. And tomorrow we have to represent, but here's what we know on the eve of battle. They do not have a firewall anywhere. They don't have a firewall in North Carolina. There's no firewall in Pennsylvania. There's no firewall in Nevada. There's no firewall in Arizona. In fact, there's a reverse in some of these. They have no firewalls. So this is hand-to-hand combat tomorrow in delivering game day voters. This is why she's going back and forth between Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. And in Pennsylvania, she's going to Allentown, which is a Hispanic majority town. She's going to Philadelphia. She's going back to core constituencies, not try to expand, to try to get the coalition together. That's not what Trump's doing right now. So I think, look, it's all about delivery tomorrow, but the early vote numbers are catastrophic. Part of this, Megan, which they don't talk about, is what the architecture of the electorate is very different today than it was in 2020 or even 2016. The voter registration of people like Scott Presler and all of these small grassroots groups that had no money and no support have really dramatically changed what is the architecture of the electorate that will be there tomorrow? It's much more heavily weighted Republican. And those people that register, although they're low propensity because they just register, they're going to vote, and they ain't going to vote for Nikki Haley's candidate, Kamala Harris, or Liz Cheney's candidate, Kamala Harris. They're going to vote for Donald Trump.
Now, the thing that's making a lot of people nervous on the right, two things. The Iowa poll by Ann Seltzer, Des Moines Register. And secondly, this news out of Pennsylvania, citing here from NBC, that they've had a ton of new registered voters who are Democrat women, I should say, Democrat women. Democrats, 55,000 total new voters. Republicans, 32.5 thousand total new voters. So they're saying that the Democrat women are outpacing all the other voting groups in terms of their new registered voters who have filed early vote, I think. So they're feeling very confident about Pennsylvania because of that. And I think a lot of Republicans are worried about that. You saw Charlie Kirk tweet out, if these guys stay on their couches, she's going to win. Get up, get to the polls. If you don't want Kamala Harris as the president, get out. And I think he was specifically talking about Pennsylvania. So can you address first Pennsylvania, and then we'll talk about that Iowa poll?
Yeah, look, if we don't, on the eve of this, we've perfectly positioned this. If you get out and you're a force multiplier, not just you have to own your own vote, but you also have to bring the people the 10 in your circle, or you have to go and help canvass today. Today's still the most active day for political work. In between interviews, I'm giving motivational talks to people all day long. You have to do that. This is all in play. We have no guarantees of anything here. And yes, they have, towards the end, signed up women, and you have to assume the female is an anti-patriarchy, anti-Trump vote. And they've done a solid job on that. Now, some of the patriarchs,
here's his rebuttal.
Patriarchy inside their own coalition is not showing up for them. But that means tomorrow you have to represent, and you have to be a force multiplier. It's all on the field. And my concern has been from the beginning the complacency, potential complacency. What do I mean by that? In 2016, you could argue that Hillary Clinton lost as much as we won. Because as you know, you remember the exit polls where we were losing. We snuck up on them. Every day they were blowing me up on Morning Joe. Why is he spending time in Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania? He's not going to win these. You got to win Ohio and these other states, and just to get it close.
Can I tell you something, Steve? Can I tell you something?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I got to tell you something. It's a crazy story. So on election night in 2016, we sat down as the anchors and producers and the behind-the-scenes teams with the decision desk people, Arnon Mishkin and all those guys who ran the decision desk for Fox. As we did on every election cycle. We had done it in 2012, we'd done it in 2008, and all the midterms. So we sat down on 2016, and it's 5 o'clock at night when you have this meeting. They've just gotten the first big round of exit poll data where their people have been in a locked box pouring through it all day. They're not allowed to communicate outside of their locked box. And finally, they're released. And they can go home to their news organizations and tell you how things look. And it's a fun moment because as the news anchor, you get your first, secret look-see into how the vote is looking. And then you go out in the air and you're not allowed to say what you've been told. But with a wink and a nod, you can kind of suggest to the audience how things are looking. It's not until the actual vote starts coming in and the polls close that you are allowed to speak about what you know. But I will never forget, Steve, at 5 o'clock in that meeting with Fox News in 2016, Arnon Mishkin said, it's going to be a very good night for Hillary Clinton. And all the data they had gotten so far was super pro-Hillary. And, what did I know? I'm listening to Arnon. He knew a lot more about it than I did. And so when we went out on the air that night, we 100% had been led to believe this was going to be her night. So you are right. He did sneak up and take it.
Hit pause, Kaylin.
Hey, hang on, it gets worse.
I was going to
That was very. I love Megyn Kelly for that. That made me feel so happy.
But I was going to say is also that at that time they were very pro Hillary, so they had a bias towards wanting to see that outcome. I don't think here the media's got the outcome they want to see Trump. You know, so I mean, it's interesting. I mean, that's an interesting insight, but what does that really tell us about what's going to happen tomorrow when you see what's going on in the media? Can you glean anything from that?
Well, so right now we're seeing basically the inverse, right? Because, you know, people, I feel like you have the, you know, tell me if this isn't what you pick up on, because what I see today and tomorrow is there's going to be a lot of positive, you know, indications for Trump, but will it actually be his, you know, to win? Because the media right now, it seems like if you go on the hill.com's website right now, you'll see a poll there on the right side of the screen, and it says, I think, like 53% for Trump, 47 for Kamala. Can I pull that up real quick?
Go for it. I think though what you're going to see is a positive reporting for Kamala, not for Trump.
Yeah, I mean, and that was going to be what I was going to say too. Is like, if you want to, if that's a direct playbook, if that is a direct playbook for, if 2016, what Megyn Kelly just described is a direct playbook for how tomorrow is going to go, then yeah, then that's gonna the inverse is gonna happen and Trump is gonna win. But that's exactly why, you know, all today in the last couple of days I've been like telling myself like Kamala has a real shot of winning, because if I think this is just for my sanity, if I think that Kamala might pull it off, then it's gonna make me even more excited whenever Trump wins. Like that's
a nice thing. I my take on this so far is, if this can be decided within 24 hours to shortly after that, it's going to be a Trump win. If this goes on for a week, 2 weeks, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It could be a Kamala win. It could be a Trump win. I don't like the whole process. If it takes 2 weeks or a week, or we have to argue over what's a vote, or who can vote, we shouldn't be doing that at this point. It should be one day, one vote.
Let me see if I can pull this up.
Because you know what happens is when the media takes over the narrative, then the campaign can no longer get out its message. It's going to be a media-driven narrative at that point. So Trump will be fighting the media.
Oh wow! Oh no, this is updated. This is not. So do you see on the screen right here where it says?
I see it.
Yeah, that's misleading, right?
Probably. I don't even know what that really represents. It's just a number.
Let's advertise the channel more. Yeah, let's tell your friends unknown to watch Meme Ranch. I mean, we are word of mouth, but I mean, like, we can do. You know, we've been doing a lot of posting lately, but you know, we get really
banned.
good.
We get banned also on this channel.
We get super good numbers for like 5 minutes, and like the likes will go up, views will go up. This happened on TikTok and Instagram. Well, not TikTok and YouTube Shorts.
Instagram did it to me also.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. Like, I wish you could look at the analytics that I'm looking at right now, because it is such
it's frustrating.
It is, yeah. There's something going on. We will be hearing about the votes, what votes are allowed or not from Trump for months. Yeah, that's what I'm most like dreading. Like if Trump wins, I don't want to face the onslaught of litigation that is going to be headed our direction. Like,
wait, you say win or lose?
If Trump loses, then there's gonna be a ton of lawsuits about like certain ballots, you know, like, and things like that. But you know, I will say this: there have been a lot of lawsuits preemptively about mail-in ballots. There was one in Georgia today that saw success in favor of the RNC. So I mean, they have been suing a lot. Yeah,
okay,
for Egon
nice.
Shalakian,
yeah. Kaylin, I didn't tell you this. That was our most downloaded podcast of the month.
That is so fun.
Still.
Well, there's been a couple of DMs that have come my way lately about Aegon Shalakian. And actually there was a Twitter user that I'd love to say his name, but I don't know if he wants me to say his name. He didn't specify. So I won't say it for now. I'll just say his name's Tim.
Timmy.
Hang on a second. I'm trying to move stuff.
What did DM say?
I know. I'm trying to get that up.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so he went to Aegon's residence that's listed on the lawsuit.
Oh, I didn't hear about this.
Yeah, I didn't tell you about this. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so he went to the Massachusetts address.
Wow. We did not encourage that.
Yeah, I did not.
We did not. That's interesting.
I got this message unsolicited. And let me see if I can pull up some pictures. I don't want to do anything that's gonna dox, even though his address is out there.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put any pictures up,
okay.
But yeah, people can do their own research if they want. But yeah, so basically there was no one home, and he said he found another address out there. I think that there was something involved in Seattle or something like that. That would be really weird for Aegon to be all the way out in the Pacific Northwest.
Would it really though? Not really.
I don't know. I just don't. He doesn't strike me as a Pacific Northwest guy.
One of his jobs has him going to the Pacific Northwest. Did he ever reach out to you to meet you in person?
Wait, which job has him going out to the Pacific Northwest?
No, I'm making that up.
Oh yeah,
I'm just saying he's got all these different titles. So
yeah, one of his occupations,
right.
One of his 3,200.
Right.
He never got back to me.
Okay.
He never got back to me, and I only tried calling back his number one time. The reasoning for that was because at the time, and still am, I'm just a little bit standoffish when it comes to that, because it really caught me off guard whenever he called me. I've gone back and forth on whether that was a real person behind the call, or if it was like a synthetic voice, because for a little while we talked about how I was fairly certain that was him on the other side of the phone. And we have seen all the videos that we uncovered online of him in real life, and talking and interacting, and he is a real person. But as to what he's doing at this exact moment, when's the last time he went to DC? I don't know. So I think
why do you think he offered to meet you in person?
I don't
just
know.
to get you to talk about him.
Yeah, I think that he's stuck between a rock and a hard place, because I think that he's afraid. He's seen the criticism online, and I think that he's afraid that if he shows his face anywhere, that he's gonna get a lot of questions.
So it's you giving him legitimacy that he is a real person, kind of thing. You could report.
Yeah,
I talked to this guy. He's real.
Because I think that what's more beneficial for him, for me to just go and report to you guys that he's real. There's a really good video out there. Maybe we can end this video on something weird. Do you guys know the AI Elon Musk Chinese version? The Chinese Elon Musk. Jeff.
Oh, well. I thought you were talking to the chat. What'd you say?
Oh yeah, no, I'm talking to you. Do you know the Chinese Elon?
Yeah, money. Elon Musk,
yeah,
money.
Yeah.
He's hilarious. I was looking up his story on Steve Bannon. Sorry.
So, have you ever seen the interview with that guy?
I've never seen an interview. No.
Oh man, let me see if I can find it.
Oh, Bannon did lose weight.
Let's see, Elon Musk doppelganger Chinese interview. This guy did an interview with him, and yes, here we go. This guy did an incredible interview. You've never heard of Chinese Elon Musk unknown? Oh my gosh, you're missing out.
Oh, he's great.
So this is a guy.
I used to think this guy was AI.
No, he is. He is.
Oh, he is. Oh,
this guy, this YouTuber. I want to give him a shout out. Zhao Man NYC or whatever. This guy, he speaks Mandarin, and he did an interview with Chinese Elon Musk. And if you look closely at this interview, he never breaks it one time. But you know how like you see how my like face is like kind of cockeyed, right now? Like he never once held his face like this in the video, and he looked straight at the camera the entire time. And what that did was it allowed the AI filter to never break. And I promise you, this guy is an AI. This YouTuber, Zhao Man NYC, basically debunked it. Although it's not the best debunking that I would have liked, he did a pretty good job at it.
So you may have seen a Chinese man going viral on TikTok and other places for looking remarkably like.
我在 YouTube 上。
He
so you
really
may have
does.
seen a Chinese man going viral on TikTok and other places for looking remarkably like Elon Musk. And so he's attracted quite a bit of international media coverage, with even Elon Musk himself saying that he'd be willing to meet him, provided this isn't a deepfake. And that seems to be the question that a lot of people have. So I reached out to him, and to my surprise, he was not only willing, but also very excited to be interviewed by me, which was kind of a shock because this is the first interview that he's ever granted. I also want to note that this interview was recorded as a live video conversation, and no post-processing on my end occurred other than typical video editing. I'm really excited to see what Ma Elon has to say.
哇，你中文非常棒。
谢谢，我觉得你的中文也很好啊。
因为我是那个什么嘛，我是中国人嘛，所以说这个中文特别好。但是
也是
学英语的话，对我来说特别困难。然后，因为大家都很，对我说英文的话都抱有很多的这个。
So do you notice how like his eyes move?
我现在说的这个英文就是。中国人也听不懂。
You're saying this is AI.
外国人也听不懂。
Yes, this is AI. Like don't his eyes kind of, like he's looking directly at you right now, but like the way his eyes kind of like drift around, and they never really come to focus on anything in particular. Yeah, it's definitely a face filter, but there's so many people who like watch these videos, and I watch this guy for the longest time, and probably because when I'm scrolling on Instagram Reels, like I'm in like my like toddler brain, and so I'm just like swiping and be like, oh, that's funny,
Right.
But this guy is 100% fooling like millions of people because they just take for granted like the power of face filters and things like that.
I remember first seeing this on Instagram, thinking
of course it is.
I remember on Instagram thinking there's no way this guy looks like that naturally. I couldn't believe it from the very beginning.
Doesn't this suck though? Because AI has ruined doppelgangers, because now it's like there's so many people out there faking it that we can't,
But didn't this start before the AI we have now? This is something else.
No, this is what's crazy, and like I think there could be like a deeper like iceberg here. Is like, how did this guy get access to some of this like state of the art like AI face filter technology?
Yeah, because this is before chat.
This is really sophisticated. Like the fact that he can do it live in real time. Like I know there's other apps that do this now, and it's like it's been a little bit more accessible. But this guy's been doing it for probably like at least 2 years, if not longer.
Didn't it happen during COVID? I thought that's when it started, was during COVID.
I want to say that's around the time, yeah.
Into 2020.
Maybe like up to 4 years, yeah, he's been doing this. So it's astounding to me that like it looks honestly a lot better in the videos that he records, where he's throwing around money and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know if we want to go much further.
I'm looking it up.
But it's interesting because this guy had a similar response about AI when we asked him about it as the Elatra guy did whenever we interviewed him.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically just like states like a general like statement about AI that's like very kind of like vague and like not really like explicit. It's just like says like, you know, like I think AI is something that's really powerful and interesting, and it's something that people haven't really comprehended or grasped quite yet or whatever. You know, it's like something to that effect.
Hi everyone, I'm Elon Musk.
听得懂啊，听得懂啊。我从你的视频看得出来，你会讲几个词吗？你会讲 money 啊，你会讲 Dogecoin、I love you 之类的。
Money, no, Dogecoin, 对吗？都有。
我也很荣幸你今天来到这里，给我们
He's like a monkey.
给我们介绍一下你自己的故事，因为我觉得很多人就是也包括我看你的视频
Here it is.
特别搞笑，
Hit pause, hit
但是也
pause.
不知道你本人
Okay.
是一个什么样的人，他就
The Chinese Elon Musk doppelganger, Yang Ma, first went viral in China's version of TikTok in November 2020. See? It was the end of 2020, just like I remembered.
Yeah, this is like some like advanced like Chinese like AI face tracking app.
I remember this too. The video that made him popular showed Ma getting out of a Tesla car and saying, "Hi everyone, Elon Musk." The video was posted by Instagram user yada yada, and over 16 million views.
But unknown. This is not happening in post. This is a live interview that this guy conducted. So
plus that was a full body shot.
Just like I have like a background here that's like doing a pretty good job at like keeping me in focus.
Right.
Except now it's
not too great. Right.
Yeah. Now it's not. Like he's overlaying that in like a live feed. And I just think that to me is the impressive part of it, is how it's being live tracked. And what does he use for those phone videos? Like I have no idea, but it's got to be, you know, I don't want to just like speculate after speculate, but it's no surprise to me that China wouldn't have some kind of like sophisticated technology like this way earlier, because of all the face tracking that they do already. They have so many, you know, data points of faces that it's just like it should be easy to create anything.
I wonder what Elon thought about it when he saw it in 2020.
And a fat GPU. Yeah.
Do you think Elon's like,
they have server barns for these types of generations? What were you saying?
Oh, I'm just like, what was Elon's response in 2020? You know, because he's always ahead of the curve.
I think Elon said that he would like to meet him or something like that.
No, but do you think he was surprised by it? You know, being in the position Elon's in, where he can see over the horizon around the corners, and then he sees like a Chinese doppelganger.
I don't think he was surprised, because I think that it was just like, to him it's like an evolution of like putting anyone's face on anyone's head, you know, for any kind of spoof. You know, it's like we've been able to do that, you know, for a long time with like just general like parodies and stuff like that. And I think that the fact just being able to do it in real time was probably like really amusing.
If Kamala wins. If Kamala wins and Elon disappears for a couple of days, and all of a sudden this guy shows up and the head of X, he's like running the companies.
That would be such a hilarious meme. Oh my god. So we need to tweet that out right now. That is so good.
Hey everyone, Kamala won. Meet your new overlord, Chinese Elon Musk.
Yeah. Someone needs to tell Elon, if Kamala wins, hire Chinese Elon Musk to become like the head of X for like the next like several months.
Forever.
That would be such.
Oh, you've been community noted. Money. Oh, all right. Let's end it on that.
Was good. Yeah, that was a good way to end it. Thank you guys for tuning in to the
Everyone go vote. Everyone go vote tomorrow. Practice your right.
Yes, we edged the election tonight, and we thank you guys for joining us in this edging spree. A Twitch streamer was virtualizing her entire body and face since 2018. This being processed in real time isn't a huge stretch. Yeah, it's true. VTubers have been doing that. You know, I feel like it's just easier because it's like we've been doing like I think back to the technology of like the Kinect, you know, where you know you're using your whole like knows where your hands and palms and your feet are. So it's like, you're able to create like a 3D model in that way. So like, it's not surprising to me, I guess, like for someone to like overlay, kind of like a 3D render of like a character or something like that. But I think just like the sheer amount of people that just take this at face value is something that I think should be, oh no, we're not gonna flag that. What am I doing? No, we're not gonna flag vote for Kamala. But we appreciate Unknown for engaging with us and having fun conversation, and we'll see what happens. And hey, if she wins, I guess we get $20. So, but love you guys.
Make my wallet great again.
Yes, and we'll catch you whenever we have a new president. Cheers to it not being Joe. I guess we can all agree on that, right?
Hell yeah.